Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Katelyn, and today we're doing a super fun anime-inspired art project. So you guys know that I love anime, and I love animation and cartoons and really awesome anime movies. Basically all things anime. Probably one of my biggest inspirations in the field is Studio Ghibli and their breathtaking movies. I mean, I love them enough that I got a full tattoo of my favorite movie from them. So today we're gonna be making a little project based off of a couple of films from Studio Ghibli, but before I get into that, I wanna talk about our sponsor for today, Arteza. So Arteza is an online art supply company that has a vast array of different mediums in case you're wanting to try something new here in 2022. I think the thing I like about them too is they're very affordable, so if you've been itching to try some new medium but have been a little bit hesitant to go to your local art supply store and drop like a couple $100s on all of the supplies, I think Arteza is a great option for you. They have everything from like acrylics to watercolors to markers and specialty drawing pencils, as well as canvases, sketchbooks, basically whatever you need to create art. For today's video, Arteza sent me a couple of their oil-based paint markers to try out for our craft today, and they have some fine tip bullet nib pens as well as some broader tip ones, so then you can get a vast array of like some fine detailing and then using the bigger ones to fill in some of your larger areas. And then they have a lot of different colors. I got a couple of their pastels, some of their metallic colors, and some of their brighter, bolder, more saturated colors. I think my favorite so far are the metallic ones. I think they just look so cool, so I'm really excited to dive in and use these. So if you guys are itching to try a new medium this year, I would check out Arteza, and you can check out their links actually down in my description and get 10% off your order. Also, once you get your art supplies and you're maybe wanting some inspiration on how to use them, go check out their YouTube channel, which I will also have down in the description below. So again, thank you Arteza for sponsoring this video. But let's jump into what we're doing today. So like I said, Studio Ghibli is probably one of my favorite animation houses out there. I love all their movies, and just so much inspiration comes from them. So I've been kind of grappling back and forth on how I wanted to integrate some of the movies from Studio Ghibli with the Arteza art supplies that we were provided. And I had a really fun idea that I thought would be just a blast to explore, and that's taking Studio Ghibli and converting them to coat of arms. I thought it'd be really fun to take a couple of their movies and convert them into a really cool coat of arms design. I love it, because you could use different imagery from different parts of the movie. You can use characters. There's so many options on what we could do. So one of the things I struggle with, which I think a lot of you also do, is picking your favorite Ghibli movies. I mean, usually for me, it's like, oh, I have like a top 5. I usually can't just say like a top 1, a top 2, top 3. So this was really difficult for me to pick like the 3 that we're gonna do today. I kind of thought about what iconography we could use from it, as well as incorporating it because it's like one of my favorites. So the first one on the docket today is Princess Mononoke. Like you saw, I got a whole tattoo of it, and it's probably one of my tops. I think it is the #1 spot, but then the rest are like really hard because they're like in the top 5. But this one I thought would be really cool because we have a lot of like different shapes from San and her mask, as well as Ashitaka has some cool shapes. And then we have like an elk and a wolf that's like perfect for like a coat of arms, like figures next to them. I think that'd be really cool. And next up is probably one of the ones that most Americans know. I think this one was super popular in the early 2000s and kind of paved the way for more and more Ghibli films to be brought over to the States. And that one is Spirited Away. This one also has some really cool iconography. We have Haku, the dragon, that we could also use within the coat of arms. And then there's just so many cool scenes that we can draw stuff from. And then finally, for our third movie, which is another one of my favorites, is Howl's Moving Castle. Again, very strong icons that we can use throughout the whole movie. I think it would be also really cool to incorporate Howl's like half bird demon-y form somehow. I gotta kind of experiment with that in my brain. It would also be cool to use like the kind of chicken feet that are from the castle. God, I have so many ideas for all of these, honestly. So we're gonna be starting with making these on my tablet and doing some rough sketches on how we could lay out the coat of arms, and then we're going to be moving and making these traditionally. So let's go ahead and jump in and get these sketches started, and I think I'm gonna start with my favorite, Princess Mononoke. Okay, so I pulled some reference for our Mononoke coat of arms, and I have a couple of things that I'm gonna try to take inspiration from while we're jumping into this sketch. So obviously, probably one of the biggest iconography that comes with this movie is San's mask. I see that everywhere. Usually if you type in Princess Mononoke, that mask will always appear in like the top search results. So for sure, we're gonna be wanting to highlight that. We'll also do on either side, kind of like this coat of arms up here, we'll put a white wolf and then Yakul, the red elk, on either side. And then I'm thinking in terms of the small icons that are here within the coat of arms, I have a couple of ideas of what we can use for within there. Eboshi, I felt, was another prominent character within the movie as well, and I didn't want to just glaze over her and not include her. Plus, she's probably one of my favorite villains in Ghibli films, and so I thought it'd be kind of fun in terms of the icons that are shown within the coat of arms, we could maybe use her fan pattern that is on her kimono. I thought that'd be really cool, and maybe we could integrate, I don't want to make it too cluttered, but like the rifles that she makes is also super cool, but we'll kind of feel out what room we have on this. With that, I want to also include arrows from Ashitaka and maybe put them along with Yakul. Like the thing that comes to mind with me is here in America, our eagle that we have as like our country symbol is holding, I think it's arrows and an olive branch, if I remember correctly, in either hand. So I'm thinking it'd be kind of interesting if Yakul maybe was holding arrows in its mouth or integrating those arrows somehow within Yakul's design. Or we could even do like arrowhead type of pattern to like symbolize the arrows of Ashitaka. And then of course, another pattern that I want to put within the coat of arms is the Kodama faces. I think those would be really cute if we had like maybe 3 or 4 together, because I feel like I've seen a couple that are like 3 shapes like this, but we'll make them all a little different to kind of match how the Kodamas look. I think that'd be really cute. Yeah, like that. I think that'd be super cute. And then finally, for like, there's probably a term for all of these things, but I'm not like super familiar with them in the coat of arms, but basically the main crest here that would go on top of the shield, I think it'd be really cool to integrate the forest spirit. It's a very interesting and detailed face when he's in his like land form, I guess, not his star sky form. I think this would be really cool to be at the top of the shield. And then I did bring in the Nightwalker as well to use like the spiraling pattern and some of like the colors that are also present in this. I think we could integrate that within like the background, maybe along the shield somewhere. I just brought it over just in case. And then finally, it's hard because this wasn't really a crucial part of the story. Like we get it in the beginning and then San gets it and stabs Ashitaka with it at one point. But the crystal dagger, I really love the design and the look of it. So I think it'd be cool to maybe integrate it somewhere within, but I just brought that over just in case. It's not a for sure we're gonna put this in, but just wanted to bring it into my references. Okay, so with that in mind, I think we have a good starting point on where we wanna go. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump in and sketch this and kind of figure out where we wanna put everything. So let's go ahead and get that started. All right, I got a general shield figured out and laid out. So I'm gonna go ahead and there's a symmetrical ruler in Clip Studio Paint that's gonna be a lifesaver for us right now. So I think I'll start with the forest god's face here at the top. Just kind of checking out my reference. I always thought this guy was like really cool but creepy. I had a love-hate relationship with this form of his. And then this is hard because I'm like, how much of the horns do we want for him? Because we don't want it to like super take up everything, but I do want to give him at least a few of his horns. I think that's a good amount. I might scale him down just a smidge, but I think that's looking pretty good. Okay, yeah, I'm really liking that. And then next, I'm thinking for San's mask. This one's a little hard because I thought about putting it directly up here in the first corner, so it's like the first main thing, but I don't know if it's gonna look weird being right next to the forest god, so we'll try it out. Ooh, I thought the symmetrical tool would help me, but oh, it's making this awkward. So I'm kind of liking how that's looking. I think I'm gonna scale it down just a smidge. Oh god, it also symmetricizes my selections. Oh well. And then I also want to add her necklace as like another pattern. Yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. Now that leaves us more room to make her ears just a smidge bigger. Maybe not that big. Maybe like right about there. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. It's not really competing too much with the forest god. I mean, I could even simplify it a little bit more once we get in and put it on the actual banner. Okay, next up, I think I might put Eboshi's fans kind of I'm thinking either next to San's mask, maybe to show the direct competition with them being right next to each other, or maybe across to kind of symbolize them being on like opposite sides of the conflict. Maybe we'll do that. I kind of like that idea. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do this again, and we'll make one symmetrical one and then duplicate it. Triangle here, and then looks like she's got one center like that. Yeah, so I'm thinking this one we could maybe do 2 of, just to fill the space a little bit better. Because I feel if we do more than 2, it's gonna be a little bit too crowded. Maybe something like that. Yeah, I think that works pretty well. I think I'm gonna tailor a little bit the bottom of this shield, just a smidge, bring it in a little bit, and I'll just center it a little bit better in this. Cool, I really like how that's looking. Okay, so we got Eboshi, we got San, and then let's go ahead and put the Kodamas, which I think I like them being up here in this square. I think would be really nice. And then we could do the more like simple iconography at the bottom with like the fans and maybe the arrowheads. And then we put the more complex ones on top. Oh, that's hard because then I kind of want to balance it a bit, because maybe we could put the simples as opposites. That means we'd have to move Eboshi's fans. I guess let's try it out and we'll see how we feel. Okay, so his are stone arrow tips. Yeah, I kind of like the idea of it being up here. I know it's like 2 icons next to each other, but I kind of like them being next to each other to kind of show like Ashitaka and San together. Yeah, I think something like that looks pretty dang cool. And then I know I was saying like representing them being kind of like opposite sides of the conflict, but I don't want Kodamas directly below Mononoke just because we already have kind of the black eye circle shapes that are in her mask. I think they would look better if they were opposite. So I'm gonna go ahead and move the fans. And then I think I'll do 3 Kodamas because we got 2 fans, 4 arrowheads. And then I know that it's not really you can't have the same number anywhere, but at least for me, I think the 3 will look really good in this spot. All right, I'm really liking how that's looking. I'm gonna go ahead and sketch in our wolf and our Yakul on either side of the shield. And then I think we'll be done with the sketch for this one. So let me jump in and get those going. Okay, I really like how this sketch is looking. I think this is like such a fun and cool coat of arms. I also incorporated San's dagger at the bottom because that's probably one of my favorite things from the movie. So I had to throw it in there somewhere. I also added a couple leaves and some vines for some foliage at the bottom to kind of tie in with the forest and everything about it. And then I just really like how the wolf and Yakul are looking. Okay, so from here, now that I got the rough sketch done, I'm gonna jump over to my traditional desk and we're gonna start using the oil pens. And so I ordered these really cool like cloth wall banners. I think they look super cool, really nice quality. But I think I'm gonna do this one on the white because I do want to incorporate some of the blue from the Nightwalker, and I think it might clash or not stand out as well on the black. So I think we're gonna go ahead and do this one on the creamish white banner. So let's jump over to the desk and get that started. Okay, so pause. This is future Katelyn talking, and I just wanted to butt in and tell past Katelyn that she was super dumb for getting these cloth banners. I should have really double checked what like material these markers were great for, but I totally destroyed like 3 markers by trying to make them work on cloth. So don't be dumb like me. Look into what materials your markers work best for. If it was a less porous cloth, it probably would have worked great, but this burlappy cloth that I got, not a good call. So I ran off to Michael's in between these shots and I got some wood rounds, and that's what I'm going to be using for the rest of the video. Just as a heads up to you guys, in case you were wondering why all of a sudden I had wood rounds. Yeah, just don't be dumb like me. All right, next up we have Spirited Away. So I already laid out a shield design for this one. I thought it'd be cool to do a 3-segmented one, and I'll show you guys kind of what I'm thinking for the different segments. So first of all, for Haku, I know this isn't part of the segment, but I was thinking it'd be really cool if he was kind of like the top head crest thing. I feel in the past I've seen like really cool like dragons or different things above the shield. So it'd be kind of interesting if we did like this type of thing and had him on top of the shield. So that's kind of where I'm thinking about placing him. And then in terms of what will be within the segments, I think it'd be really cool to show like a full no face with maybe a black background. I think that would look really, really sweet. I also wanted to highlight like pigs' faces to show San's parents being transformed into pigs, since that's kind of the whole overarching theme of her trying to get her parents turned back. And then with that, I kind of pulled another coat of arms to look at how they drew pig faces. So I'm gonna kind of go with that. I know that's more like a boar with big tusks, so I gotta adjust it a little bit to be more like a domestic pig. And then for the 3rd segment, I thought it'd be kind of fun to put a couple of different soot sprites with those little stars as well. Maybe we could do like 3 like this with like a couple little stars in between or something like that. I'll play around with it and figure it out, but I really wanted to put the soot sprites within the shield as well. And then finally, I brought some reference in from like the bathhouse and some of the surrounding streets, because I'm trying to figure out where I'd want to put it, but I like the idea of getting a couple of nods to the bathhouse and the location of this movie. So I was thinking maybe like below, instead of doing like leaves like we did on the last one, we could maybe do like the bridge that leads into the bathhouse as kind of like a bottom crest type of thing. And then I like the idea of incorporating these red lanterns somehow. So I don't know if like maybe we could put like a few on either side like that, and maybe a couple of smaller ones. I gotta play around with it and figure it out, but I'm kind of already liking how that's looking. And in terms of like showing the soot sprites, you'd for sure see one here, and then the other ones might get hidden a little bit behind the bridge. Something like that. So with that in mind, let's jump in and start doing that finalized sketch, because I like the idea of where this is going and this layout, but I really want to get like nitty gritty and really get into the sketching. Okay, so I think first for this one, I'm going to start with the inner segments of the shield. So I think we'll go ahead and start with maybe no face over on this side. I want to show his full mask design and make sure we get like the correct shape here. I think that's a little bit low. All right, I'm going to get my symmetrical ruler too. And then I think we could fill this area black. I'm just putting that in there. I know we didn't fill with other colors, but I'm just trying to visualize it in my brain. And then I realized we could probably even do like another segment here like this to make it kind of interesting and different. I think let's try that. Let's try like this type of thing, because they have it segmented here kind of like that. And I know they have this up and down segmentation too, like I see them do this too, but I kind of like it horizontal like this, maybe something like that. So then we can incorporate like one more element somewhere. Don't know for sure if I'm gonna go with this, but just thought I'd sketch it out so I think about it. Okay, and then in terms of the pigs, I think it'd be cool to do 2. Actually, I just put it in, but I'm gonna get rid of this, because I think instead it'd be nice to put the 2 like pig heads for the 2 parents right here. God, I have not drawn a pig head in a bit, so he's looking a little possessed. I'm trying to show like his front teeth, but I think that's a little bit too gnarly for that. I think I'm gonna make him a little bit cuter. So I'm just looking up a pig profile. Okay, yeah, I'm liking how this one's looking. Like one more line, yeah. All right, do that. And I think we'll move it over and duplicate it. And then we'll have our 2 parents. I think I need to make them a little smaller. Cool, I'm liking how that's looking. And then for the final one here at the bottom, I think we'll do the little soot sprites. Okay, so I got kind of the soot sprites figured out here, but I think instead of doing all the little lines, I'm gonna make them more sunbursty. I feel that fits the style of medieval coat of arms a little bit more than lots of little hash lines. Like they did have like some hash lines or cross hatching or more detailed line work, but I don't know. I just feel this looks more close to that style. And then duplicate him again. Alt, why are you not working? There we go. Now we got all 3. I think I'll make all of them just a smidge bigger. There we go. Okay, cool. So we got the inside of the coat of arms figured out. Now let's go ahead and work on Haku on the top next. So I kind of want him to be a little symmetrical, not perfect, but just slightly. So I'm gonna drop my symmetrical tool down again. And then I'm thinking like his head and tail could start in like a similar place. So we'll put him up there. And then maybe it comes up like this and then up in the middle again. Something like that I think would look really good. Actually, I'm gonna turn off the tool again now that I got that figured out. And I think we'll put his head on this side and his tail on this side. Something like that. And then I want to keep him not too simple, but a little simple because he's going to be such a smaller figure on this coat of arms. But I want to make sure we get a lot of his main details in. And accentuate his feet just a little bit, make them a little bit bigger to show that they're like grasping onto the coat of arms. Same with his hind legs. Then we can't forget his long, majestic mane and a little bit of fluff on the end. And then at least for his whiskers, I'm thinking it'd be kind of cool if they wrapped around the shield. So now I'm going back and forth. I'm like, because if we put his head on the top, kind of like how we did with the forest spirit, the whiskers could go on either side of the shield instead. Oh, that makes it tough. So, I mean, if one whisker did this, it would just be kind of weird to make the other whisker do that. Yeah, it wouldn't be very convincing. Oh man, now I'm rethinking because the whisker would be kind of cool to wrap around the shield. I like him at the top though. Dang, this is tough. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna keep him as the full body self. I think that's just a really cool element to have on this one. The whiskers would be cool to kind of frame it, but I'm gonna leave it. Okay, and then for the bridge, now that I have this figured out, I still have my sketch from it. So let me move it down a bit, see if I still like it. Then I also had a thought, kind of like how this one has this top of a tower stone crown. Maybe we could even put the bridge behind Haku. That does look pretty cool too. But then it might get lost and might not be seen as a bridge. I think I'm gonna go with my gut and put it on the bottom. I don't think I'll keep the lanterns, but let's go ahead and sketch out this bridge. Okay, so we got the main shape. I think I like the bridge just because it's nice to have that like red pop of color. Like that will be really nice, but then it's just kind of like cool symbolism, like crossing over into the spirit realm. I think that would be kind of fun to like tie in that symbolism. Yeah, I think something like that looks pretty nice. I'm trying to think what else from the bathhouse we could incorporate, because it does have like those golden creatures on the top of it that might be fun to incorporate, or like maybe like the roof from the building. Ooh, that might also be cool. Let me try adding that in. That actually looks pretty dope. I don't want to get it too busy, but I think that's a pretty good spot for that. Then let me look. I want to see what figures are on top of that bathhouse. So it looks like there's some type of, yeah, like they're like the fish that I see on top of some of the buildings too. So maybe we could add that in. But oh man, the demon head thing is pretty cool as the crest there. Maybe we could put that on the shield too. Maybe. I'm going to try it out. Yeah, so they're like dragon fish. So I think that looks pretty dang sweet. I thought about adding like that gold demon head, but I think that's going to take away from Haku. And I think that looks like a really sick coat of arms. I really like it. It doesn't have as much going on the sides like the last one, but I don't care. I think that looks really cool. So let's jump in and get that one started. All right, we are on the final crest, and for this one we're doing Howl's Moving Castle, and I collected a bunch of imagery on what we could do for the different segments, and so I got a couple ideas. So first off, in one of the little components, for sure I wanted to put Calcifer. I thought he was just too cute to pass up. He's got to be a leading little icon in the shield. And then with that, I was thinking it'd be really cool to incorporate this kind of more like really gnarly cool Howl from Sophie's Dream. That's like this weird like feathered dragon. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to put it up here, kind of like how they had the helmet from like a knight's armor on top of crest sometimes. I think it'd be really cool to have like this cool like crazy feathered thing on top. I think that would just look awesome. And then within another one of the panels, I really wanted to put the patterning from Howl's coat. We didn't really have any like, I guess, traditional just shapes in any of our other coat of arms, and I thought this would be really fun to incorporate in there, like a really cool pattern shape combo. And then in another little segment, I don't know if I'm going to keep this as one or maybe we'll divide it into two. And then for this last segment, I don't know if I want to keep the bottom as like two or maybe we'll make it one, but I want to make the little demons that fell from the sky with shooting stars. I brought over the scorch mark from the table as well as the one where they're dancing around Howl in like that like weird ceremony thing. And I don't know if I want to make them, like I was thinking we could make them like very simplified versions of these weird spirity selves. I thought that might look kind of cool on the coat of arms and just have like a couple of them. It's a really hard decision because we could also do that and have like Calcifer in the middle too. That's also an option for the bottom of the shield. And then also I wanted to incorporate something from the Witch of the Waste, and so I brought over her henchmen, which I think would be kind of interesting if they like flanked the shield somehow, like as if they were holding it up maybe a bit, so they'd have like their weird masks and then they're like holding up the shield. I don't know for sure if I'll use this, but it was just kind of an idea in my head because it's either going to be them, or I also like the idea of putting like the legs from the castle on the bottom of the shield, kind of like that. I think that will also look super cool. So just got to kind of figure it out, play around with it, and get some sketches going on, I guess, where I want to put what. So I guess from here, let's go ahead and jump in and get some sketches going. So I think I'm going to go ahead and start with the patterning from Howl's coat. That's probably going to be one of the easiest things for us to get out of the way. So let me go ahead and get that laid out. Just for sake of sanity, I'm going to go ahead and draw the diamond first, just once, and then we're going to duplicate it a couple of times. All right. Got that duplicated a couple times. I think that's going to look really cool. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and go with my gut on this one and put maybe Calcifer and the demons down here. I think it'd be cool to have like the star versions with Calcifer as well. So let's go ahead and do that. So then we'll have him be in the center here. I don't want him perfectly symmetrical, so I'm not gonna put the tool on because he's like a little ball of fire. He's a little different on both sides. I always feel like I make the like cute big eyes look creepy somehow. That's a little better. A little more spread out helps. There we go. I'll put one of the star versions. I like how they did it in the scorch mark. I think that's supposed to be Howl in the scorch mark though. It shows like Howl, his heart, and the shooting star type of thing. But I'm gonna kind of try to copy that style a little bit. Bring him over here. Yeah, I think that looks pretty great. I really like them being together, and I mean it is what he is, so kind of works for them to be near each other. So then that leaves the top area. This part's tough because I mean there's other characters that we could draw from, or we could do Sophie's hat. Because I was thinking another thing on the bottom that could be interesting is I was thinking we could do the legs of the castle and then maybe some feathers, but then also have Sophie's braid kind of along the bottom. So I don't want to like put her in the shield as much, but I mean her hat would work because she had her hat shop. She wore it through basically most of the movie. Well, whenever they were outside at least. So maybe we could do that. Let me try it. Okay, and then the hat I think might look nice if it was at like a slight angle. Yeah, I don't know. I think we could use some other symbology there. So I'm going to think about it, but I'm going to keep developing at least the rest of the shield while I'm trying to figure out what to put in that last little space. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the cool Howl head. So we don't really see a lot of the face at all in the movie. We just kind of see it with its teeth. So I think we're just gonna kind of replicate that look. I always really loved this scene in the movie. I think I'm also partial just because it looks like a really cool, like, bird dragon thing. But, oh God, I just wish we could have seen more of this design and, like, Howl's like creature form in this. Oh, it's just so cool. Another thing I saw on one of the previous coat of arms was kind of like the top of like a castle pillar. So maybe we could take one part of the castle and have it attached here. So then maybe we could do, there's like this part up here that it's kind of like a teeth for the bottom of like that mouth area. So maybe we do that here to kind of also be similar to that other coat of arms, but we'll make it more like mechanical. Maybe something like that. Kind of looks like the feather crest on like a helmet type of layout. I think that looks really cool. Maybe we can incorporate some other parts of the castle, like one of its eye, like maybe one or two of its eye stalks up here would also be pretty cool. Kind of reminds me of like cannons. Yeah, we'll do the two eye stalks. Yeah, I think this is kind of fun. It's like a good way to add a little hint of the castle also on here. I think that looks pretty dope. Still not digging this hat though. Gotta figure out something for that. I mean, we could always do Heen because he's a dog. Heen would be kind of a good little add-in to be an animal figure on the coat of arms. So maybe let's try him. I love Heen. I always just thought he was just the cutest little side character. So now the question is, head on or profile? Since we already have Calcifer as a head-on, maybe we could do Heen as like a profile. Let me look up how they do dogs on coat of arms too. Gotta make sure it still looks like Heen. Oh boy, this is gonna be hard. Gotta add his little kind of toupee hair. Gotta make him look like an old man too. I think something like that looks pretty cute. Yeah, I like that a lot more. Okay, so I think for the last little bits of elements, we could add, I think Sophie's braid would be really cool in here too. So just having it kind of be like a little bit at the bottom. And then I kind of want to show it like fraying from where it was cut off. Maybe something like that. I gotta do the braid shapes first. It's also why Clip Studio paints the best, because I have a braid brush. I'll just continue it with my sketch, and then we'll add a couple more feathers. Let me get my ruler on again. I still like the idea of the legs from the castle, but maybe we just won't show the feet for this one and just keep it as feathers. But I still want to kind of add that little bit of mechanical element, like a little bit more of it. This looks like a cool like battleship crest with the eye stalks on top. I don't know, it just looks like a battleship. I really like it. And I think throughout the outside, depending on how the detailing goes and how much detail I can get in on this one, we could make kind of like little rivets in it to kind of replicate how the castle looks. Something like that would look really cool. All right, I am digging this. I think this looks super cool. So from here, let's go ahead and jump in for our final time at the traditional desk and get this last banner all done. Let's go. right, I am back next day. These took a little bit longer than anticipated. It took me about 2 or 3 days on and off to get these all done, and I am really happy with how they turned out. I love the Princess Mononoke one. I mean, obviously this was like really fun to do because of my tattoo, and I just really love this series. The Spirited Away one also turned out super fun and cool. I just love the different shapes and patterns within this one, and then I added a bunch of architectural elements from the bathhouse, so this was super cool too. And then finally, my favorite, I think, is the Howl's Moving Castle one. This one was super cool. Like, I don't know, I just really clicked with this one, and it's probably my favorite of the 3. I really like all of them, but I think this one takes top seat for me. And I really enjoyed using the Arteza markers. After I figured out that they weren't really working well on the porous cloth I had, it was just a breeze to get them to work on the wood. Honest critique though, there was a couple of my markers that weren't loading correctly and they weren't really putting down paint, but then a few of them I did totally destroy because I tried putting them on that cloth. So I think it's a combination of user error and then maybe 1 or 2 of them were kind of like built a little weird. I'm not for sure, but I mean, they were really great besides that. I really enjoyed using them and I would highly recommend if you're wanting to try this out, try out some of those pens. But again, thank you so much Arteza for sponsoring this video. I had a blast trying out your products, and if you guys would like to try out any and directly support the channel, check out the links down in the description to get 10% off your order. But either way, thank you guys so much for stopping by and checking out this video, and if you aren't already, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button, the like button, and like send this to any of your Ghibli friends. This took a lot of work and a lot of hours to make, and I just really love the results, so I would appreciate your support if you could like send it and share it and get it out there. I am thinking about making these into stickers as well. I think they've made pretty sweet t-shirt designs too. So let me know in the comments if you would love to see some merch based off of these coat of arms and if you want to see more coat of arms, because I had a blast and I would totally be down to make more. But either way, again, thank you guys so much for stopping by, and I'll see you all next time. Bye everybody.